Oh. Hi, everyone. This is going to take a minute to go out to the algorithms. I am so sorry. We got cut off. Let me see if I can send this. I don't know that I can. I'm looking for this to get sent out. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, I think this is finally going out to folks now. Oh my goodness. That was crazy. That was nuts. I'm going to give it a minute. Okay, so here's what happened. And I really don't know what the last... Hi, on Schumann. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We just had a blip. And so I did the first part of the live. I'm in the middle of the Oracle reading. And all of a sudden, this... need a break reminder showed up from YouTube's. This must have been something as a recent update. And it was telling me to pop, basically it was popping up and saying you need a break every hour. So I changed it to like 24 hours or 23 hours and 55 minutes because I was just going to turn it off altogether. And when it popped up, need a break, it like ended the live. That's annoying. But it wasn't your internet, Karen. On Schumann's passing by. Hello, hello. So I'm sad because there were like 15 people. Hopefully they'll find their way back. So I had to just go live without having a chance to, you know, do the thumbnail again and everything like that. So it's going to make the replays a mess. I don't know why settings, and maybe I got an email about settings are going to be changing and here's your default setting, you know, but yeah, it just automatically recently started popping up a break reminder for me on YouTube. So yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back. Find me again. All right, let's continue on. Let's continue on with our Oracle reading. Oh, Sherlock Holmes is back. Yay, Trust is back. Okay, you guys are finding me. That was lame and crazy and but you know, I thought the Mercury retrograde was over, y'all. I thought we were going to be free of that kind of thing. But yeah, lately I've noticed YouTube must have done some updates and I must need to change some settings. But I have that reminder now for 23 hours and I'm going to go see if I can figure out how to turn it off after the live. And I will update the first part of the live replay as part 1 and the second live part of the replay as part 2. So you'll be able to follow along then. Welcome back. If you're here and you don't mind putting a thumbs up on the video, on this video, to get it a little more out there and maybe catch back up the people that might have fallen off accidentally there. Sedona Crystal Temple is the YouTube channel. Thank you, Girl Gone. Sedona Crystal Temple. That sounds amazing. We're all going to go check that out for sure. Singing bowls of all different crystals. Okay, so to complete out our Oracle reading here and back on the topic of, you know, we're breaking patterns of people pleasing. We're finding our sovereign selves again. We got this little guy, a turtle energy, which I love. I feel that it helps remind us to be patient with ourselves on this journey because we are literally like resolving and dissolving patterns that don't work for us. And we're beginning to embrace new patterns. And that's a process and it can take time. And we may have to share with others that they might need to be patient with us while we go through this. All right. And it's your turtle year, Karen. Turtle's your spirit guide here. So I love it. I think about the softness of the turtle body and the toughness and heaviness of the shell, and that it's solid. And I think about that protection from the tiger's eye. I think about really understanding the divine feminine, the softer side, really understanding how to align our actions to move ourselves forward and where we're putting our attention and energy. And turtle is very instinctual. Turtle, I feel, is purposeful. So I feel there might be some messages coming through for your intentions and having purpose and having meaning with really resolving these people-pleasing patterns that you might be dealing with. And Karen says resilience. Yep, resiliency and always home. Yeah, carries the home. Very relatable to me as a Cancerian, a Cancer sun, having that shell. And slow and steady wins the race is how the saying goes. So this is kind of, I guess, of all places for the video to kind of cut out. This one is okay, I guess. This is an okay spot. We're going to get into the breakout readings. And so today I decided on 3 different breakout readings for our next hour or so. And the first one we'll get into is much like the poll that I put up at the beginning of the other video. And it has to do with self-abandonment, fear of rejection, and fear of disappointing others. Okay, so we're kind of going to go where it might hurt a little, where a little bit of the pain is, and we're going to get some tarot cards to help kind of work through those energies. We're going to see what's being revealed in those energies for us. The second breakout reading, we're going to get into a little bit more on the nervous system. So one of the things, and the whole reason I set up this as the topic for this week's Frequency Friday was because I'm going through this personally, resolving a big lesson with people pleasing that has played out in some of my friendships and relationships. Okay. And I have had physical discomfort over this. Okay. Nausea, gut issues. So anyone else, when you get into doing this inner work, the nervous system, the neurotransmitters, the hormones, everything starts to get involved, and your body will sometimes have a detox. So do you have that going on sometimes? Do some of you feel like you need to do something to release the energy? Have you found something that works? Some people sing, dance, exercise, right? There might be some tools you can throw in there that help process the energy depending on where you might hold it. Girl Gone says headaches. Yes, head tension, headaches, hot flashes, temperature changes in the body, right? And yeah, so honoring yourself, because you're recognizing, oh my goodness, not only am I working with these heavier concepts of self-abandonment and fear of rejection, fear of disappointing others, but my nervous system is all entangled in this, and it has to be rewired. And so what are your tools for that? And are you using them? Because sometimes when we do a lot of inner work, sometimes some of the tools that we use will end up growing out of, because we get in such a good habit of using them that it just comes second nature. And so it might not pop into our mind. But you could even ask yourself, are there some tools I've been using that aren't as healthy? Are there some tools that I've graduated from and maybe I need something more? Maybe I need a body work session or a certain kind of therapeutical treatment in order to do this. Maybe I need to go get a singing bowl, go to a singing bowl get together and let those energies and those sound frequencies wash over me, right? Yeah. Girl Gone says exhaustion. Yes. Fatigue and tiredness. You meditate in the sunlight, that helps, and listening to the singing bowls helps you. Wonderful. I think that's beautiful. I like the combo of the sunlight and the sound frequencies. Karen says, I shake when I have to cause disappointment in others. Yep. Yep. And that's that nervous system. It's just burning off those energies, right? And I think that's natural, but you can end up trembling. I've done that. When I've had big releases, I do think trembling and shaking can absolutely be releases. They're a type of release. The energy is shaking off. And you go in the river. You go in the river. Okay. That's beautiful. I love water energy for it. Now it's telling me it wants me to put up a question, but every time I've done the Q&A questions, it never works. I can try. I'll just put, what's your favorite energetic tool? I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try it. I keep trying this for YouTube. So I tested their Q&A, and then I put start Q&A, and then I publish it, and I don't know that anybody can see it. I can see it on my screen. So what's your favorite energetic tool? I tried it again. For some reason, the Q&A stickers do not show up. They don't show up at the bottom like the polls. So anyway, we tried, YouTube. We tried. We tried to help you out. But I'm not going to, I'll set a boundary there. I'm not going to try it again because I want to stay focused here. So grounding or being out with Mother Earth, with nature, the sounds. Yeah, we have a lot of frogs and cicadas right now. It's kind of the end of the summer, and I just love listening to those harmonies and melodies. It's just incredible to be out there. We were doing some stargazing last night. I love stargazing as well. So breakout reading number 2 is going to be all about the nervous system, and we're going to see what tips we can get about working with the nervous system. And oh, it did work. You saw it? Maybe because I already took it down. Let me just put it up and see. You saw the little question, huh? Where did you see it, if you don't mind my asking? Did it show up like in the middle of the screen? So I just put favorite tool. Let me put it up again and see, because I can see it. Yeah, because like in the previous lives, nobody's been able to see it. Not even my moderators, which is interesting. But I also think it might be depending on what kind of device you're on, because they were saying they were having some trouble with Androids and stuff. But I'm like, I'm on an Apple phone. So, oh, you see it. Okay. Does it let you all answer now? What's your favorite energetic or spiritual tool to use? I know some of you already answered it, but test it. I think when you answer, then it comes down in sometimes it comes down in the comments, but some of you are saying it doesn't let you answer. I'm watching on like an iPad over here, and I still don't see the question. So it's wild, but I'll leave it up for a minute. Yeah. Some Android users were having trouble. I can kind of move the question a little bit so it's not directly, to me, it shows up like right here. I like singing, but we have basement tenants, and I don't want to be, oh, you want to be considerate. Having basement tenants could have an effect, but yeah, singing. Have you ever just been in your car by yourself though, and you just let loose singing? I do that sometimes. Yeah, and sometimes like just getting it out in like a growl or a moan or just kind of like processing those deep earth vibrations, letting those rise up out of you can reset your nervous system. You're Adele in the car. Yeah, okay. So you guys some of you can see it, some of you can't. The question is, what's your favorite energetic or spiritual tool to use? Somebody said fork. Do you mean like a tuning fork? Because tuning forks where you go ding and then, ooh, those are awesome. All right, number 3 breakout reading is going to be the fun stuff, okay? So we're going to go into like a little bit of the pain, a little bit of the harder stuff. We're going to reset the nervous system with the second reading, and then we're going to get into how we reclaim our voice, how we reclaim our magnetism, where our attention goes, that energy flows, and what will honor us authentically. So let's get into this. Let's get into some of this. And Sherlock Holmes says a walk or a shower. Oh, I love baths and showers myself. Walking, oh man. I love walking too because I feel like the stepping, you really can release. You can really give it to Mother Earth when you're walking, right? And Mother Earth knows what to do with it all. Singing and dancing while you're cleaning. Yeah, so you're like productive and getting things done off your checklist, but also you get the energy flowing and moving. All right, so let's go back into a little bit of the hard stuff real quick here with the fear of rejection, the fear of disappointing others, maybe the self-abandonment, right? Okay, so some of the harder aspects of actually, I'm gonna put this Q&A down because I'm gonna start showing cards. So actually facing the underlying currents and the reasons. Can you guys hear Blaze in the background? Somebody's either come to the door or is leaving or something is going on here. Blaze lets us know. He is definitely the alarm system over here. All right, so let's see. What do we need to know? This is a little pack of major arcana only cards from the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. Okay. We got the moon. There it is. There it is. So when we are actually in a place where we have to face these things, it's a bit of a shadow land. It can be a bit of a, what I would call portal as we're walking through. See how we have these big pillars. Again, a lot of these cards remind me of themes that I see in the Never-Ending Story for you Gen Xers or beyond who have seen the Never-Ending Story movie. It's very much like passing through the gate and what we're taking with us and what we need to leave behind before we can pass through the next portal. And here you will see the little barking dogs or the howling dogs as well in this card. So to me, that represents that when we're in these energies and we're conscious of them, they really get our attention. And that those patterns will come up in your face so that you will deal with them and resolve them. Yeah. So Blaze's little barking might have influenced this too. You're right. Little dog barking, I know. Then we have the lobster coming out of the river or the lake here, beginning to walk on the path. So we have another shelled creature here. So the lobster, just like anything, wants to feel safe. It has a very soft interior, okay? Very soft interior, hard outer shell for protection. The lobster gives you Jordan Peterson vibes. That's funny. Like he wants me to clean my room. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, okay, so sometimes taking an action for ourselves, you know, as long as it's an aligned action that you really want to take, or maybe you need to set the boundary and say, I don't want to clean my room, like my kids say, right? But cleaning can be therapeutic. And in that way, maybe this is what the moon is saying. You're going to have these things come up. They're going to be getting your attention. There's a lot going on. Oh, by the way, you have to pass through this portal. But before you do, you have to release and resolve this pattern, right? So this is the shadow energy. This can be connected to the Cancerian energy, the crab, the lobster, the turtle. We have a lot of sea creatures coming up as potential allies in assisting us with this, you know, and we're not meant to rush ourselves, but we are meant to get honest with ourselves, right? So go at pace, whatever pace feels best for you there. Girl Gone says Hecate. I've heard it pronounced different ways. Dog and wolf and moon. I love it. Yeah, I love that. Dog and wolf and moon. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I'm picking up here. So what I'm really seeing in the card this time is like these flecks of light that are like almost floating down and you'll see the moon also has like the sun aspect to it. So it's like eclipsing. Guess what we're coming up on? Eclipse season. So those of you who've been working with these energies and really want to make some progress, I think this September is going to be a great time. I'm definitely getting some sort of eclipse energy to help you break up some of the heavier energies here and begin to make sense of it, right? And begin to put it in its needed space, if you know what I mean, right? And that could be putting people in their needed place too, with your voice. It could be the boundaries coming up. Valkrinix, hello, how are you? It's so funny when YouTube gives me the little Q&As, it says things like, you know, what kind of what kind of muffins, do you like, or things like that. It says like something totally off topic. They're supposed to like, I guess it's not sophisticated enough yet to kind of know your genre or your niche and like go along with that. It gives me something about muffins. This is not a cooking channel, although I do like to cook. Those of you who have Taurus energy somewhere in your chart might align with the cooking. Some people cook to relax. Maybe some of you are quite the chefs out there. All right, let's get some more tarot cards here and really look into self-abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment. However, these energies of people-pleasing do or have played out for you before. We got the Magician, and I'll hold the cards up in a second. I want to get a few out. We got the Hermit, girl gone. We got the Hermit. All major arcana so far. Guess what else we got? Okay. This is a big energy for many of us, okay? This energy of self-abandoning, whether it be from we're afraid of disappointing someone, we're afraid of someone's going to reject us, we're afraid somebody's going to get angry, we're afraid somebody's going to, leave us. Sometimes our fear of having someone else leaves us makes us leave ourselves. And so when we're doing that, when we're in that cycle, and many of you have experienced this and maybe resolved it to a certain degree, and then, once you resolve a good piece of the energy, the little subtle energies of it come out, and you kind of, depending on your soul's journey, may put yourself through some tests to try to find out if you're really committed to upholding that, maintaining and continuing to practice your communication and your boundaries in an authentic way, right? And all of these cards, the Magician, the Hermit, and we got another moon. We have a double moon energies here. Really powerful. So tomorrow, actually, we have a new moon tomorrow. And what's so interesting about this moon more than others, at least what I've tuned into, is I typically feel like the full moons are big release points, but I've had more of an experience coming into this new moon of releasing than ever before, because typically I think of new moons, and many people talk about this as the times to set your intentions. But if you're in the middle of a big release, it can sometimes be hard to get really clear on what your intentions are. So there's some other astrological factors going on as well. However, this is a very interesting time to get a double moon cards here, and we're up upon this new moon. That tells me it has great importance for many of us. It's definitely something that whether we want to or not, whether we have resistance or not, it's getting our attention. It may be something within us that's harder to look at. It may bring up some painful memories. That's what I get from this second moon, is that there may be a fear of some of the related painful memories coming up, whether it be somebody who influenced you and you took on what they wanted as a part of your characteristics, or maybe you exercised your influence on someone else inappropriately or in a misaligned way, right? And this brings up feelings of like, well, not only now do I have this fear, but now I might feel guilty, or I might feel a little bit ashamed and embarrassed that I took that on and then I acted on that, right? And so the vibration, I'll say, because something just came up from the earth and the ground for me. The vibration of forgiveness, and not just like we throw out the word forgiveness, but I'm talking about like radical forgiveness. And I think it's an energy. And I was going to say that about gratitude earlier, when the energy, or like somebody else was talking about downloads, right? And the sparks of light, burst of light. Yeah, it's, it can be a little like potent, right? And so maybe some of us are being asked to truly forgive ourselves. And as we look at this shadow and we do what we need to do to process it, when those pain points arrive, or those harder memories, that we make sure we're equipped to, with our tools, with our tiger's eye, with our gratitude, with our turtle totem, whatever it is, that we're equipped with that to help us work through those energies and really embody forgiveness for ourselves first, and then for others in the situations we might have been involved in. So it can be really powerful. Oh yeah, thank you, Jason, for reminding everyone. Since we have a part 2 live, if you're here and you enjoy the content, please put a thumbs up on this one. So this one will also help us reach out to the algorithms as well. So thank you for reminding everybody. Karen says, I have big ass new moons with lots of haywire. My full moons are usually meh. Interesting. And I wonder if, you know, for some of us, it probably has to do with our blueprints, our charts, our personality, the timing, what else is going on. Yeah, we got a lot of moon energy, and it does signify releasing. But usually what happens first is something gets your attention as needing to be released, right? Because your greater being in the universe are working, co-creating, Mother Earth is co-creating with you to bring it up and get your attention. So it gets your attention. I wish I could just release things without, you know, revisiting the lesson and doing all of that. But it seems to be something that happens externally, because that's how we teach ourselves, as within, as without, that happens. And then it gets my attention. And then I'm like, okay, now I got to deal with this. And I can't skirt away from this, right? I can't resist. Well, I can, but it'll just keep coming up in my field until I deal with it, right? Yeah. Moon takes energy and release, no matter for what no longer serves you. The sun brings the new beginnings and recharges. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But sometimes I just want to, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but sometimes I just want to be in the sun energy. I just want to be over the hard stuff. You know, especially after I'm like, okay, I'm not resisting it anymore, but it's right here and it feels big, and I have to parse through it. You know, I have to get through it. I have to sort it out. But we're getting a couple helpers here, and all major arcana cards came out for this reading, which blows my mind. The other 2 cards are the Magician and the Hermit, like I mentioned. Now, some of you have heard me talk about the Hermit being the master magician. The Hermit is further along in the major arcana. The Magician is number 1 and comes after the Fool. So the Magician energy I very much see as the energy of, we're dropped into this earthly incarnation, or we agree to be here, okay? And we come in, and it's like, boom, we're in this like reality field that is this soup of experience and densities and contrasting expressions, and we're having a physical experience with it. And the Magician here is learning the elements. So the Magician is at a phase in the major arcana archetypes where it's learning the elements here. And sometimes the magician will trade out, actually working with the elements. He has a sword, the pinnacle, the cup right here. And I honestly don't see the wand of fire here at all in this magician card, because he's holding the wand of the ether. Ideally, though, you want to be working with the elements, and the wand of the ether has more to do with everything coming at us. Here it is, very mentally too, because it's the mind, it's the brainwashing, it's the influences, it's the mind control, right? And it's all kind of coming at you, and sometimes you just have to do what you can to survive. And what's really interesting here is this deck is so unique and different. There is typically a snake in the hermit's path, but in this hermit card, we don't see the snake. We do see the hermit holding the candle representing the inner wisdom and light out in front of him, so he can see the snake. The magician does not seem to be paying much attention to the snake. The snake is also shedding its skin, which I think is very interesting as we're talking about release here. To truly embrace shedding the old, are you using the right elemental energy? And that's for you to come up with. Like some of you have mentioned in your tools, like showers or baths, it's the river, the water energies really help you. And that's where we want to be with using the tool. Now, the magician is holding up what I would say is kind of what I would call a false wand of fire. It's kind of like a stick, and it's all bare, and it looks like it has some thorns and maybe some twigs coming out of it. But it's a more infantile energy. It's more immature. It doesn't have all the experience of all the elements yet. And then as we get to adulthood, which is who this video is for, right? We get to this adulthood place and we're like, oh snap, you know, I'm behaving this way, or these lessons are coming up for me. I better actually tune into these elements and see how I can navigate them and work with them all together. And the journey from the magician here to the hermit is how to do that, and taking us through the different archetypes that are in between the two of these, which are 2 through 8. Going through all of those, there's lessons in there, there's divine feminine in there, there's divine masculine in there, there's coming to balance in there, gathering strength is in there. And then the hermit says, okay, those elemental energies are inside of me, and I'm using my external environment to learn about what's going on inside, because I have these signposts out in front of me. Some of the signposts are glowing and beautiful and welcoming, and some of the signposts are thorny and prickly and like barbed wire, right? But I'm getting the information, and I'm actually going to bring the elements inside myself. And the candle the hermit is holding here is the light of that inner wisdom, of having really taken their experiences and then alchemized those into something that they can move forward with, lighting their own way with their own truth from the inside out, in alignment with the truth of the universe, universal law, cosmic law, natural lore, Lore, as well, right? And it's getting into that place. I love the hermit energy. It's honestly, to me, it's one of the most powerful energies. It's also number 9 here, connected to the energy of Virgo, and we're moving into Virgo season. So I think those of you that are really tuning in and you're hearing the messages and you're reflecting on how this might play out in your life, these people-pleasing patterns, whether they be strong, subtle, or no matter how much work you've done, there's an evolution that's definitely stated here, an evolution that has gone through the shadows and the shadow journey. So my goodness, like, if you can take Virgo season and really hold your light out and see if you can settle into the gratitude, not even from like writing an affirmation down, but actually settle into that sense of gratitude within, of what you've learned and what life has shown you, and I just feel like, to me, it feels like when I say that and I show the journey and the path from the magician to the hermit, I feel like on the other side of things, like there are just ancestors and people celebrating and whooping and being like, yes, you got this. Keep going. Don't give up. Be tenacious. Be resilient, like the turtle. Do protect yourself, but also honor the softness within, right? And so some of you may be really recognizing this. And September, with the eclipses and the Virgo energy coming in, you're going to be able to make sense of it. Virgo is a very good analyst. So you'll be able to get some clarity in the mental energies. You'll be able to sort through it, let go the loosh and all the stuff that no longer serves, and embrace the authentic nature and what you're in alignment with. The molting period for a snake is very vulnerable, and they are more prone to lashing out while they are in transition or transformation. Thank you, Karen. Very vulnerable time. Yeah, and I do think the magician has, a lot of readers will connect the magician only to like manifestation energies, which I do think it can be that. But do you know how many lessons there are about really becoming the energy of manifestation within yourself and truly alchemizing that? There's been books, The Secret, there's affirmations out there, everything. Like a lot of coaches will sell like, oh, I'll teach you how to manifest in 3 simple steps, you know, and there's all this. But honestly, it's a deep, involved, alchemical process that if we're not vulnerable within ourselves to be able to embrace that part of the journey, it becomes very difficult to be here. And we see that play out with some people. We see that play out with some people. They aren't able to be resilient. They aren't able to do that. And that's tough. That's tough. But there's also a grander plan out there for their journey. So I think sometimes we'll have to remind ourselves of that, because if we attempt to constantly people please or say yes to people who aren't investing in their own energies, that can get into a really vampiristic and unbalanced dynamic that does not feel good. Some of us have been there in the past. I know I have. And that's where you end up feeling like drained and a doormat and all that kind of thing. Girl Gone says exactly, shedding what no longer serves. Yep, what no longer serves. And that's that release energy. And following your own light and being authentic with that light. The light of your voice, the light of what you have come to know is true for you in alignment with the principles and laws of the universe, right? And when you get those things together, you become very powerful. The hermit is a very powerful being, but there's no showmanship here. Okay, this is a very humble energy as well. It's not about, some of the other archetypes like the emperor, here I am, taking up space, I'm very bold, different energy, right? This energy is like, I'm here, I'm in alignment, I'm walking the path, and I'm going to lead with my inner light. And as long as I'm trusting the inner light of my own wisdom, my experiences, my lessons, everything, the light, the dark, all of it, I know that I will make my way, no matter how dark the path gets. Hermit has also come up a lot for Karen this year in personal readings. Feels like a hermit in a turtle tortoise year. Yeah. Breaking generational curses. Yeah, I mean, I really feel that. There was like a moment when I was speaking of the ancestors and everything, it was like, I could just hear, like, it was like a whole stadium or auditorium filled with those who care about us on the other side, are, who we're connected to in spirit energy or were in this lifetime. And it just felt like a roar of like, yes, like I just feel a lot of gratitude coming from the other side for the work we're doing. And I think sometimes we underestimate that and we forget to give ourselves credit for that. So especially if you feel like you've been walking the shadowlands. It's all about embracing and what do I want to say? Figuring out how to embody, which is what we're going to get into next when we do our nervous system reset and rewire. So it's all about finding that embodiment. So we start to align with the feelings of empowerment that hermit gives us, because we have the wisdom and the experience. We don't need to be showy about it. We don't need to brag about it. We just are what we are, and it begins to show up, and we begin to lead by example. And that is beautiful. And we've got cheerleaders behind us. We've got support. Doesn't always feel like it's there, but it's there. And sometimes we have to be reminded that it's there. All right, so we're going to go into the energy of the nervous system discomfort and rewiring. And Michael says, well, Girlgon says, cheering us on. Michael says, what a privilege to honor our great ancestors on the back of Mother Earth. Yes, because this is like master doctorate level stuff we're dealing with, energetics here. I mean, your mind, if you just let your mind, everything that's going on, like, for someone to be here and find their creative energy and potentials and be grounded in that energy, that is a huge celebration, because it is such a challenge. And I'm just going to say one more time, for that first reading, they were all major arcana cards. That means these are major life and cycle lessons that we're a part of with this. And we can break those generational curses for our generations to come. And it heals it back up the line too. Some of you may have had ancestors who tried to address some of this, but for whatever reason in their lifetime, they weren't able to resolve that. I feel that now. I feel that they feel like, oh my goodness, like you have done such a service by doing that service to yourself in that healthy way. I'm not saying in a greedy, manipulative way, okay? But service to self of like, I'm going to look at my shadows. I'm going to really look at how I can grow and use these tools wisely to begin alignment. Boom. They recognize that. That is something very important, and it creates all that space for our ancestors to be released as well. So the nervous system reset. Ooh, I love this card. The major arcana card that came out for us is the Hanged Man. This is the number 12. 1 + 2 is 3. So if you're working with the numbers. And the Hanged Man energy, it can absolutely be that permission slip that gives you a moment to have a timeout and to change your perspective on things. It can absolutely represent the resetting kind of energy where I'm going to go into, and it can be, it goes well with the hermit energy, I feel, because when we're in that hermit mode and doing all the reflecting and really looking at that inner world, we begin to see things from different perspectives in our maturity as we're growing, as we mature through our lives and mature with our emotional energies, our physical energies. We begin to have this different experience. Also, if you like numbers, the hangman kind of looks like the legs are in a number 4. And I love that. I love that about it. There may be a desire here to actually have more stability. So when I was talking about embodiment, I'm wondering if some of you have had imbalances, whether it be hormonal or maybe immune system imbalances, digestive imbalances. It can be tricky to go through these shadow workings that we're doing, because our physical body can get out of harmony as well. So the Hanged Man will look at a different perspective. This is the energy that you find resolution in. Okay, this is the energy that you find the supplement you need, or you find the rest or the sleep aid you need, or the frequency that works for you, because part of the intention here is stability, coming into a more stable energy with that number 4 coming up there. So we have our 12, our 1, 2, 1 plus 2 is 3 into the 4. So there's definitely movement happening here, but from the outside looking in, you may not be perceived as moving. You may not be perceived as acting, but there's still a lot of activity going on in this card. And this card also can represent a sacrifice, where maybe there has been some sort of sacrifice of your time, of your energy that's really got your attention. This can be the overworking vibe that we talked about in part 1. This can be the vibe of like, oh my gosh, I'm so burnt out. I'm so stressed out. I've done too much. I've overextended. Time out. Time out here. And that's the Hangman coming up, letting us know in order to reset our nervous systems and truly embody that alignment, that timeout is important. That timeout is important. And I know that bumps up against a lot of responsibility for many of us. It bumps up against, just expectations of others, or just requirements for our workplace, requirements for our lives. But yes, some might be really feeling this. Girl Gone says, I had to go to the doctors because of the hot flashes. I thought I was hitting menopause, but I'm not. It was just the energy. Some of you are so sensitive that there will be these times you think like it actually feels so profound to the degree that you could think something is definitely off, or you're going through the menopause. Now, I, for one, am perimenopausal, so I am going through that, and I do get the hot flashes, and I'm already energy sensitive. And so already being energy sensitive and then having the temperature stuff happen, it's very distracting, because it's not something like it comes from the inside out. At least for me, these hot flashes, it's like you're on fire on the inside. So you got the fan going, you're sitting in front of the air conditioning vent, and you're still on fire. It's crazy. And so, yeah, but sometimes that can be a phase we go through just to process the energy, temperature changes in our body. Karen says it feels stuck, but it's active. Yeah, you get a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot, especially if you're having kind of the turtle hermit year, there's a lot of, yeah, but you might judge it as stuck energy, but it truly is not. And I think that's where we have to look a little closer. We do have one more major arcana card coming up, but we got a couple of, we got a court card and a minor arcana card with this energy. I think there's a bit of a struggle or a fight when it comes to the nervous system here with this 5 of Wands. And what's really, really interesting about this card, because we kind of went through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at the 5. We have progression, but the 5 is where we get pulled into the edges. And in this card, I'll kind of look at it and tell you, then I'll show you. There are 4 blindfolded individuals that have a wand. They have a wand of fire. They're learning about this element, and they are trying to hit a bee's nest like it's a piñata or hornet's nest. And then there is one guy over here who's just looking at these other guys like, what are y'all doing? I want to stand back with my wand, right? And I'm probably not going to get stung because I'm not swinging at this bee's nest. And I would say right now, as you're working to reset your nervous system, okay, and you're willing to give yourself some grace with the energy that may feel stuck, but it really is a powerful timeout for you. Honor that the best you can. Don't allow yourself to get drawn into the drama right now. Can you use the wand of fire in a paused and subtle way, in a softer way than being active with it? Don't get drawn into actions that are going to make you feel like you've wasted your energy. That's what I want to say. Like, I think Girl was talking about this at the beginning too. Like, I'm not going to invest. I'm not going to let somebody convince me to blindfold myself and have a game of piñata with the bee's nest. That's all that's going to lead to. So I'm going to be like this guy over here and just stand back, grab my popcorn, let the party play out, all the while knowing that I'm focused back on the inner work and bringing perspective to my life, which is where we have the power and control, and where then we can become the example. So the Five of Wands kind of gives us a little bit of a warning. It doesn't mean that discomfort and getting pulled into the edges doesn't help you grow. It absolutely does. And sometimes having those more profound experiences do change our lives and pull us in those directions. But there's also the inverted energy of that, which can draw us into something that ends up being fruitless and maybe even painful. And so we're learning to distinguish that. As we learn to distinguish that, the nervous system can calm. You definitely can't calm your nervous system being attacked and stung, though. So, yeah. No drama llamas here, right? Karen's feeling a lot of affirmations coming to her in these readings. September, the interest rates come down. I did work of manifesting the loan approval for a good budget. Yes, good. Good for your house. Good. See how these things play out in the practical world in your own personal experience, and it's just up to you to reflect on those and figure out what those are for you. Girl Gone says yes to the lessons. The Hermit says hold back, not be too rash to get away from the old skin. Yes, so these cycles need their time. Don't jump too fast. You have a big stick, but you don't need to swing at everything. Yes, absolutely. Right. Even if we feel confident about, oh, I can beat all these guys and knocking this nest down and not get stung, you know, are we pushing the pedal to the metal too hard? Are we being too forceful? Because the nervous system will let you know when that's happening too. Maybe the headache will come, the fatigue, the exhaustion, and really being able to feel that in your body and acknowledge that. And then you can make a different choice. All right. So, yeah. We've got the Judgment card up next here. We've got the Judgment card up next, and it says number 20. So we've gone from, we had 10 come up before, now we're doubling that into 20. This card to me, being the number 20 and representing a rebirth kind of an energy, a vulnerable kind of an energy, it really, to me, talks of that the ending part is a portal, and the portal itself, while you might appear to walk through the portal of an ending into a new beginning, the portal itself has its own time and space, okay, where this grand transformation is happening for us, okay? This grand transformation. We've got the hand of the magician here, or even the hermit, right? Actually putting the ingredients together here. And there's a part of us that has been trapped before in some of these energies, and now we're rising like a phoenix and being released. But that is a process. It's not just something that happens overnight. It's like the same with cooking a really good meal. Think about all the beautiful herbs and spices and vegetables that you can slow cook over time in a whole day, and what a rich, like nutrient rich broth that will make, versus just throwing something in the microwave, right? And then just burning it up and changing its form, right? So definitely Phoenix energy here for some of you, rising from the ashes. Some of you that might have that fire sign, sun, moon, rising, north node, as I like to read for those placements. In your 4 pillars, look where you have the fire energy. That may be where you're feeling transformation, or fire energy anywhere in your chart could give you an indicator to where you're feeling that transformation. What I really like too here is this next card. I love the way this card is depicted in this deck. It's the Page of Wands. So we go from the Five of Wands, and we're still working with fire energy here in the Judgment card. And now we get to the Page of Wands. And look how he's like, I hear you, beautiful birds. I'm so curious. I love this. I'm in nature. I've got my wand of fire. Maybe I don't know how to use it yet exactly in this new beginning that I'm having. Maybe I don't know how to wield this quite yet, but that's okay. I'm starting to hear the melody here. I'm starting to pay attention. I'm going to remain curious about it. I might even get a little excited about this. I might let myself get a little excited here. And I just think this is a beautiful card. And we've got 3 birds, some bluebirds and a cardinal there. And he's just listening to that beautiful melody that they are speaking and singing. And I really think that's where we want to go. So a lot of fire energy has come up here. Even here we have the wood, and we have the illumination, different kind of fire coming into the mental space here. The fires of transformation. So when it comes to the nervous system and rewiring, okay, it's kind of like there may be times where some of you feel like your body is like hot wiring itself. You have to like hot wire the car to move, the hot flashes coming up like that. This could also be a little, and I'm going to do this a little bit here. I'm going to take this. We're going to burn a little Palo Santo here to honor this particular reading. We're going to use the fire element. So I have a candle here. I have a little Palo Santo that I'm going to catch, and just, you might want to use some Palo Santo. You might just want to work with candles. You might have a fire pit that you enjoy sitting around. I know we're trying to get one of those because it can be really transformative. Just gaze into the flames and see what you see there, right? Experience what you experience there, your relationship to actual fire.